All right. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great morning thus far. And thank you for taking some time to join us here for our workshop, Level Up Your Online Reputation with GoSite. My name is David, and I will be the one walking you through everything today. So just so we know, this workshop is intended for more of an intermediate crowd and will provide you with an overview of some of the most critical components of the GoSite dashboard, as well as key strategies that'll give you an opportunity to do just that, to level up your online reputation with GoSite's tools. Just so you know, the meeting is going to be recorded and will run for about 60 minutes or so. A follow-up email is also going to be sent after the session, and that's going to include a recording as well as additional resources. Also, your audio is muted, so any questions that you have, just please drop them in the Q&A feature, and they'll be answered during or at the end of the presentation. Just to clarify with the Q&A feature, that is for you to drop in specific questions you have, and those will get answered. And then the chat feature is actually separate. That's used to contact us as panelists privately if you need to for any reason. And the Q&A will be actually tag teamed with me with my colleague, Taylor. Okay. So now that, we've gone through a little bit of housekeeping in terms of what we're going to cover today. So what I'm going to be doing is walking through the dashboard and sharing my screen. And in terms of an agenda, we're going to start more in the backend section of the dashboard, talking about how you can enhance your business location, description, and services, as well as add photos and videos to your online profiles. And then after that, we're going to shift into talking about best practices that you can be using to really effectively build your online reputation through the use of both the reviews tool as well as the placement tool. Okay. So all of that said, let's go ahead and jump in to the dashboard. Okay. So right now I am logged into my dashboard on desktop and we're on the home screen. And before I jump into our agenda for today, one quick thing I wanted to point out is that at any point, if you do have a question about your account or anything else for that matter, you can get in touch with our support team by hovering over the question mark symbol in the top right-hand corner of your dashboard. It's right to the left of the bell. And you would click Ask Us Anything to either go ahead and chat with our team directly, or you can use the search bar to search our extensive knowledge base to see if your question's already been answered in some way. Okay, so moving on from there, like I said, the first topic we want to dive into is located in the Manage My Business section. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is found in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to click that drop down and select Manage My Business. Now, what I really want to focus on here is how you can be enhancing your overall business profile. So these are your online profiles that are hopefully already synced to the dashboard, like your Google My Business and your Facebook account. Under the contact information and categories section here, we see our business location. We also see, if we scroll down a little bit, our relevant business areas, also known as service areas. You're going to want to update these to include the most relevant zip codes or geographic areas in your region that you want to focus on providing services in. Okay. And that's because these business areas tie directly in to the service area section of your Google My Business profile, which Google has actually designed to be optimized for a local area of search. So for example, just to clarify that, your profile is going to be most visible to those searching for the types of services you provide in about a 15 to 17 mile radius of the address used on your Google My Business profile, which is this one right up here. Next up, we've got your business description. So with this, I'd really encourage you to take some time on writing up a solid paragraph or so about your business. We want to make sure that that description can be read conversationally, and that it also contains keywords about your location and the types of services you provide. really what that does is it makes your profile more accurate, more relevant, and more in-depth for prospective customers that would be searching for the type of services you offer. And speaking of services, actually, if we scroll down a little bit past that business description section, we'll see the services section. And this is another area that you want to keep relevant, especially if you do ever add new services to your business. You can go in here, click add new service, and add those in accordingly whenever that becomes top of mind. Okay. So that is the manage my business section. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about building your reputation for those prospective clients we were talking about on profiles like Google and Facebook in just a little bit. But before we do, I wanted to show you how to add photos to your dashboard, which will then show up on your online profiles and directories. And then, of course, can also be used on your website if you'd like. So we're still under the Manage My Business section. We're going to instead of being in general information where we just were, we're going to click into media on the left side. And here you go to the top right, you click the blue add media button. And then you could add photos or videos from your computer. This is also something that can be done on your phone. You would just go ahead and click upload image, and that would bring up your computer files. Okay. Now, when we think about photos or videos that you'd want to bring in here, this could be anything like a picture of your storefront, your actual store itself. It could be of your team, yourself, maybe if you're the sole owner, or it could, of course, include various pictures of projects that you've worked on in the past, or maybe you're currently working on. And what this does is it helps make your profile more personal and trustworthy to those prospective customers that are actually seeing your work as opposed to potentially just stock images. And so another tip to note is once you have uploaded those photos, they will appear here in the media section. A little tip is to write up a brief description of what the picture is. So if you didn't see what I did there, I clicked on this third picture in here. It's of a guy pruning a tree here. And the description is simply tree pruning in San Diego, California. So this business is, of course, is located in San Diego. You can, of course, adjust that to wherever you are and wherever you perform your services. But the general tip there is to describe in 2 or 3 words what the photo is, what the actual action in it is, or the description of it physically, and then type your location as well, where you're providing those services. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause for a moment there just to see if there are any questions about the couple sections we just went over. And we'll just give it a minute for anything that may come through there. Next up, just so we know, we're going to be diving into reviews. So we'll dive into that in just a second here. Looks like nothing is coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right. And let me mention, when it comes to the topics we're about to cover, specifically, like I mentioned earlier, reviews, as well as posting to your online profiles, the overarching theme with those is consistency. So being consistent in those practices that we're going to talk about. You really want to be consistent in building and maintaining those types of actions into your daily operations, your weekly operations, because it's really going to affect the overall fluidity of your overall reputation as it relates to online. Okay. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and first talk about reviews. So what I'm going to do is go ahead on the left side and click into our reviews tool. You can see all your tools on the left, of course. And first off, before we get into the nitty gritty here, think of reviews from a high level as the face of your business. These are really the lifeblood of your overall online reputation, and reviews can certainly be make or break for some potential customers. So that's, just goes to show how important they really are. There's actually one interesting stat that shares that 72% of consumers will only take action, or in other words, they're only going to reach out to your business after reading a positive review. So with that in mind, you might be wondering, okay, well, what does that mean for me as a business owner? Well, one of your main goals should be to continue building the number of positive reviews that you have. And an easy way you can be doing that is by using the reviews tool within the dashboard that we're going to take a look at here. And this is something you can do on the desktop version or your phone, depending on what you prefer to use. And just like any new process that you may be getting used to, it takes time to build that muscle memory behind it to make sure it becomes part of your schedule, your operations. So doing something like setting a reminder, daily reminder, or weekly reminder, whatever it may be on your phone or computer, that can help you remember to be sending these. Okay, so as a quick refresher here, just to show you how to send reviews, you'd click on the send review request button in the top right, and then go ahead and enter in the client's name, email, or cell phone number, and then go ahead and click that from the dropdown and then send the review request. Okay, so I'm going to quickly navigate back to our presentation here as we first review this. And in terms of best practices with reviews, these are the 4 most handy things to remember that we're going to cover. Now, the first one here is timing. So what that means is that review requests are more likely to convert to actual reviews when they're sent within 24 hours of the completed service. So really all that's saying is if you give a client the chance to forget to send you a review or leave you a review, I should say, they probably will. And that doesn't mean they didn't, care for the service you provided. It's more so a matter of people just getting busy. So timing, sending that review request within 24 hours of completing that service, that should be one of your priorities. Okay. Now, 2 is intentionality. And what does that mean? Well, that is related to how you ask for the review itself. And, I'm talking about verbally here. So ideally, if you're with the customer at the end of the service, so when you're getting paid, for example, you would ask the client if they'd consider leaving that review. So you could say something like, well, I'm happy you like the service. I'm glad you like the tree trimming, whatever it may be. I'm always trying to build my online presence, and I'd really, really appreciate your feedback. Would you mind leaving me a review on Google? And of course, typically, if a client is happy with that service and they've loved the work you've done, it looks great, they're more compelled to, go ahead and leave you a review. So at this point, you go to your phone, your app, that is your GoSite app on your phone. And I'm actually going to go ahead and share this. I'm going to pull up, let's see here. I'm going to try and pull up my phone. So give me a moment. Okay. Perfect. Cool. Okay. So like I said, what you would do is you would go ahead and pull up the app and you would navigate to the review request screen and ask the customer if they prefer that request to come in via phone or email. So of course, what you can do here is in the bottom right, there's that menu. So I'm going to click on menu. This is on iPhone. On Android, it's a little different. The menu would be in the top left. Once the menu comes up, we're going to see all of our tools. And of course, because we're looking for reviews, on that right-hand side in the middle, the trophy icon says reviews. I'm going to click that. And then once I'm here in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a blue circle with a plus sign in there. And I'm going to click that to go ahead and bring up the review request menu where I would type in their information to send it. So again, this is all happening in real time with the customer, if you can imagine that. So you've asked for the review at this point. They agree. And then you're asking, once you have this screen up, if they'd prefer that review to come into them via phone or email. So let's just say they said phone. I would go ahead and enter in their phone number. And then I would go ahead and just click send in the top right-hand corner. Okay, so simple enough there. And for even more effective results here, something you can do is offer to help guide that customer. Let's just say they might be a little older, maybe in their late 60s, 70s, 80s, people that may not be as technologically sound. In that case, I don't mean leaning over their shoulder as they're writing it up for you, the review itself, but staying around maybe when you're cleaning up and maybe when your crew is putting back all of your equipment, whatever it may be, that may just be a good idea to help ensure that you do get the review, and don't let age or anything else for that matter be a barrier to you getting the review. Okay. So that said, let's go ahead and shift back here to our presentation. Okay. And let's just quickly mention that the next couple of points 3 and 4 that we're going to cover on best practices here are going to be in the dashboard. So I'm going to switch back to the dashboard. But before we do, those couple topics are going to be resending review requests, the importance behind that, and then also responding to negative reviews. Okay. Some tips and tricks there. So let's go ahead and pull the dashboard back up. And once we're here, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the review requests tab. So that's up the top here. So the nature behind this is if you have sent review requests to clients and you haven't yet received their review, you certainly can feel free to resend that request to their phone or their email about a week or two after the initial request goes out. And this is going to be especially worthwhile for those customers who did agree to leave you a review, but maybe they just haven't gotten a chance to write about it, or they potentially forgot. So that's why you would be resending this. And the way you do that is on the right-hand side here, you see 2 columns, send and clicked. So if you have sent a review and you also notice that maybe it didn't go through, or maybe it did send, but they didn't click on it, so they didn't actually view it, that may be identifying a good time to resend a review to see if they would get it the second time around. And also just remember, so if you're running into people that are not leaving these requests, they're not responding to your review requests, it does come back to point number 2 around the intentionality behind the ask itself. So being as intentional as you can with asking. The first priority would be doing a great job with the service, because if you don't do a good job, it's likely that someone wouldn't want to leave a review. So you're of course incentivized to do the best job you can, which I have no doubt you will. And the second priority there is actually asking verbally, and if you can, in person for that review itself. Okay. Now, one of the benefits of sending out review requests through GoSite is that the process is specifically designed with the private feedback form that's going to help filter positive and negative reviews. In other words, you're still going to privately get all that valuable insight from customers to help you keep improving as a business without necessarily having it publicly damage your online reputation. But with all that said, there's still a possibility that a negative review will find its way to your public online profile if a customer leaves their feedback by means other than using the GoSite review request link that you intend on sending them. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the all negative reviews tab here, right to the left of review requests. All right. Now, of course, something to remember is that every business owner is going to receive a negative review from time to time. It's just something that happens in life. It happens when you run a business. And even though it might not feel good to receive that negative review, you're going to want to still make sure you reply in a calm, a respectful, and of course, a professional manner when you do. So the reason I navigated to the all negative review tab is this is where I can see all the negative feedback that may have come in. And what you can do here is you can reply to these reviews by clicking on this back arrow button. Now, keep in mind as well that you can reply to both positive and negative reviews, and I would absolutely recommend replying to any review you receive, and of course, thanking that reviewer for taking the time to leave that feedback for you. But in this case, I'm going to click on the back arrow, and this is a negative review. This person had said very bad. And the first thing I want to do is, of course, thank that customer. You're going to want to apologize that the service didn't go according to plan. And then you also want to offer a remedy or a solution to that customer. So for example, you could say something like, thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry that the service didn't go according to your expectations. I'd be happy, this is the remedy part. I'd be happy to come back on site to fix things up for you. And so, of course, you can tailor this directly to what they're saying to you, and you can reply accordingly. Now, keep in mind that this will be different. You don't want to necessarily copy and paste the same exact review response every time. You can keep them similar, but you do want to make sure that people that do see these online, whether it is your reviewer or it's someone else in the general public, they realize that you actually care as a business owner and you're not just a bot or someone just typing the same thing over and over again, because that just shows a lack of intentionality there. Okay, so that's a little example there. But again, something to remember, whether they actually respond or get in touch with you after you reply to their review, that's somewhat irrelevant in the sense that one of your main goals, just retouching on this, is that you do want to make sure you're as professional as possible. It's only going to help your overall brand as a business owner for you to make yourself up in the most positive light possible. This is your one chance, if someone does leave a negative review, to reply and, like I said, put your business in the best light. And of course, something to keep in mind as well is that people that leave these negative reviews, they do have an opportunity to take it down. So if they feel like you resolve the problem that they were facing, they may go ahead and just do that. And that would remove that bad star rating from your profiles. Okay. So once again, I'm going to take a brief pause here, see if there's anything in the chat question wise. If not, we'll move on to our last section. Okay. Cool. Great. Seems like nothing coming through, which is awesome. We'll still have time at the end if there are any. So like I mentioned earlier, I talked about consistency and how it's crucial when it comes to both the review side, which we just covered, and then also posting to your online profile. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our placement tool on the left side, right below reviews, which is where you can very quickly and easily make posts to your online profile. So once I'm here, I'm going to click on the posts tab itself. And before we dive into this, I'm just going to talk about why posting is important. And it's for a handful of reasons. First off, when you post, you're building your online reputation. It's helping your brand. It's a way to stand out as a business and show off the quality services that you provide through the use, of course, of text, of typing, that is, and then also photos. Also, when you go ahead and you do develop a routine here, and you are, of course, embodying that idea or that theme of consistency, you're making it more likely for prospective customers to find you and, of course, choose you versus competitors. A good rule of thumb with posting is posting once per week. And just, circling back just a moment on that competitor idea, is that if you have a business that's posting and showing that they care about their brand, they're demonstrating that they do a good job by showing off their photos of their projects or whatnot, versus a business that doesn't do that, then you do have, of course, a better chance, because people are going to be able to see your work and they may be more compelled off of seeing those posts. Okay. Now, I can imagine that if you're new to posting to online profiles, you're probably asking yourself, well, what would I even write up in this area? That's a great question. And it's actually a lot simpler than you may think. So when it comes down to it, there's three general tips or guidelines for posting. One is they should be clear, as in straightforward. They should be concise. And three, they should have a call to action. So for example, let's just say we're a tree trimming company located in San Diego. I could say something like, looking forward to serving the San Diego community this summer. Call us today for a quote or something like that. Okay. Very simple, very straightforward, but goes over those 3 tips that we just covered. Another example is you could utilize your photos to showcase a recent project, and then you can actually write up a description of what that project was. So that goes a little bit of a layer deeper, and of course lets you utilize and showcase your work. Okay. Remember, this is something that is going to be posted publicly, similar to how you would see reviews online publicly, or you'd see responses to reviews publicly. So you want to make sure that you're professional here, using proper grammar. Ultimately, your business's reputation is still on the line with these things. Okay. Now, in addition to the strategy behind posting, you can also get creative with the way you send these out. So for example, posts can be scheduled out on Facebook, not for Google, but for Facebook. And you can also create an event. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to schedule that first. You would click on the drop down that says select post type, schedule, and then I could select a date and a time for that, and then click save. I can also jump into the event. It's going to pull up a similar menu where I would title that and then select the start date and end date. And an example of what you could do for an event is, let's just say you're running something, you're running a giveaway during the month of July, and the giveaway is a $50 Amazon gift card. You're limiting it to 1 ticket, or 1 ticket per customer. And the idea behind it is any customer that leaves you a review during the month of July is going to get entered into that raffle and receive a ticket to win that $50 gift card. So you would choose, start date, beginning of July, end date, end of July, and that would appear on your profile. People would be able to see that and maybe give your business a call as opposed to a competitor because of that offering. Okay. And last but not least here, you can also use this area to offer certain discounts or other incentives. So, for example, 10% off during the first 2 weeks of August, just to drum up business. This is something you may want to use during your slower months. I know a lot of, maybe you're a landscaping company in the Northeast, and you have a slower time during the winter. So if there were certain services you offered, you could drum up some business by offering a discount or something like that. Okay. Now, similar to how we looked at reviews on our phone as well, let me go ahead and share how you can make these posts on your phone before we go ahead and wrap up here. So I'm going to once again pull up my phone. Bear with me while this pops up. Okay. So again, we're back on the GoSite app here, and similar to how I got to reviews, I'm going to click on the menu in the bottom right. And once that screen comes up, placement is just on the opposite side of where reviews was. It has a little location icon. I'm going to click on that. And at the top, it says Google Insights. So I can click on the drop down there. And then once I click on the drop down, a couple down, it says posts. And once I'm here in the bottom right-hand corner, there is that blue circle again with a pencil icon inside of it. I can click on that to either write my post, where I could just simply write a post or schedule one, or I could click create event. I'll just click on write a post for now. And then once I click into the screen, it'll bring up my keyboard where I can start typing. And something to note as well is, similar to on the desktop version, you will want to toggle these couple on depending on where you want to send the post to, whether it's Google, Facebook, or both. And last thing I'll mention is, if you do want to add photos, you can click on the paperclip icon, which will will open up your photos that you have there. And then once that's all said and ready to go, you can click on the blue post button in the top right-hand corner of your screen. All right. So pretty simple there. But again, this really just depends whether you use the desktop or the app on your typical business operations. If you're someone who's always on the go, you don't really have access to a computer necessarily all the time, then you certainly can use the phone and it may be more effective for you. Give both a try and see what works best for you. Okay. So with that said, we're just going to go back here and talk through a brief recap of what we learned today. So number one, of course, we talked about optimizing that manage my business section. Things like enhancing your description, your location, your business services, and then updating your actual services so people know what types of services you offer throughout the year. We also touched on the benefit of adding your own photos or videos to your dashboard so you can use them for posting to your profiles or your website and making your business stand out as opposed to competitors. And of course, last but not least, we touched on the best practices for both our reviews tool and our placement tool when it comes to posting to Google and Facebook, and ways that you can really effectively build your brand and, of course, stand out as a business as you level up your online reputation.